ourselves, not knowing how we got here. We look around and turn around, no answers for the questions. Many times we see ourselves, not knowing how we got here. We look around and turn around, no answers for the questions. Forgetting the time we took for granted, forgetting the moments spent in doubt, forgetting the time we took for granted, forgetting the moments spent in doubt. And now we're ready to do things differently. Through valley of time, through valley of moment, taking no chances. With the power of grace, we know our future can be better. Now we're ready to do things differently. Through valley of time, through valley of moment, taking no chances. With the power of grace, we know our future can be better. Can you show me the enemy of a man is the man in the mirror, pointing hands to others. The reckless times undermine our future, often leave us the present.
Download our app on the Google Play Store and iOS. 1873 FM.
Yes, that is a track titled "The Power of Grace" by one of the 1873 United Artists member, and it is indeed a beautiful morning. And I do hope that wherever you happen to be, you are also having a wonderful morning so far. This is the 1873 FM, the Santon Express Morning Show with your host Tinashe Mpasiri. Glad to be of service, and it's good morning to you, Buchan Foods Dilaria. Glad to know that you are also tuned in and you are following the show. And we continue in search of the future. I want the power of storytelling. And joining me this morning in the studio as we continue on this conversation on this aspect of the power of storytelling, I happen to be joined by Mpho Mohlala.
Yes.
Mpho, a wonderful morning to you, and thank you so much, man, for joining us on the
Thank
1873 FM Santon Express Morning Show this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
Well, it is indeed a pleasure and an honor to have you so that we can actually be able to have a conversation, particularly the power of storytelling.
Yes.
And you realize that as on the 1873 FM's Santon Express Morning Show, we've been having this conversation, various individuals. I have actually, from January to date, I've actually had conversations with 554 people.
Yeah.
That's basically my bank.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
As, marching towards the ideal of the banking on Africa's future 10,000
Yes.
points of light. And that makes you 555 this morning.
Yes. Thank you. I feel special right now.
I've been learning quite a lot
Yes.
from the conversations that I've been having with various individuals. Of course, I might not remember all the conversations I had, but at that moment when you're having a conversation with an individual, you learn something about those same aspects that normally come up in a conversation in as far as the future that one wants, how that future can be secured.
Yes.
And when you look at just an individual telling their story, you realize that I've spoken to quite a number of people who happen to be musicians. They all have a
Yes.
different story to tell. I've spoken to a number of individuals who also happen to be entrepreneurs. Each entrepreneur has a different story to tell, and you learn from their struggles, you learn from their challenges, and you are inspired as an individual like that. Oh, if they did it, I can also did it. So I mean, Bo, without taking much time,
Yes.
maybe if we could start off by you briefly giving a background of yourself and just tell us your story, how you got to be where you are today, and when you look at the year 2019, how the year 2019 has been for you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Mpho Mohlala. I am from Springs in the East Rand, a little small town, very small, very. It's still developing. Yeah, man. I'm just a young man, just trying to experience life. You know, I'm 21. I'm 20. Sorry, years old, turning 21 next year. I'm a musician, so I've been making music all my life. I've been involved in just creating. I was even part of the church band, playing drums and all that. So yeah, I'm basically also a church boy. My grandmother is a pastor. So yeah, man. I've been through a lot. Obviously, all of us have been through a lot of ups and downs, but it's what you do, what you learn from those experiences. And with my story, I had a lot of troubles with figuring out my faith and everything, and just trying to learn what this life is, especially after I finished high school, moved into college. That's when I moved to Johannesburg. I was just trying to find myself, my true self, what I want to do. I was actually studying electrical engineering before I came into. So I'm studying in Boston currently. So I was studying electrical engineering, and I didn't, at that point, I was still trying to find myself, and I felt at the time that electrical engineering was not the path that I needed to be on. So I decided, I spoke to my parents and I was like, okay, I want to do music. This is what I was created for. And my parents decided to take me to Boston, or they told me to look for a school that will at least accommodate my career choice. And I found Boston, and I'm here now. I'm in Joburg. I'm pushing. I'm working towards my dreams, and yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very, very interesting that you tell us your story from where you come from and how you ended up, even at Boston, where you happen to be
Yes.
studying media studies.
Media studies. Yes.
Because of that passion that you have of being a musician.
Yes,
and
yes.
when you look at music in itself is one way that individuals get to tell their story. I mean, stories are told in various forms.
Yes.
Photography is one way of storytelling. Music is one way of storytelling. And if you were to look at videos themselves, I mean, it could just be a video. You can just go out there in the street and start shooting a video. People were walking by, and that in itself is a story. One can actually be able to add 1 + 1. It gives them this outcome, like, it seems this street this morning, it doesn't seem to be so busy. Then why is it that it doesn't seem to be so busy? Is it because we are heading towards the festival? I mean, we are slowly drawing closer to Christmas, and you find that there are many companies, many most industries, many people we work within many companies actually have actually closed down for the Christmas holiday.
Yes. Public holiday.
You can tell a story of the morning, the afternoon. You can also tell a story of the evening. So I just want to zoom on you.
Yes.
I mean, when you look at 2019,
Yes.
For yourself as an individual, how has 2019 been for you? If you were to tell a story of 2019 and put it in a song, what would be your highlight for the year 2019 that you can say, this is my highlight for 2019?
Okay. My highlight basically was when I won my first award in the 011 Awards. It's like a Joburg Music or Art Award show program. So in the previous year, 2018, was very tough in terms of my musical career. Nothing was moving forward, and I was really struggling to get to a platform or a form where I have a voice and people can, listen to me and tune in. But when this year I just started off with a bang and started working on new music and just pushing that, and eventually we got nominated for the 011 Awards. And that was a highlight. That's my first music award. That is my first, so that was like my highlight. I'll always remember that. And yeah, and from there on I just started moving even forward. Eventually got my second award for the Ekurhuleni Hip Hop Awards. So that was also good. That was really nice. And yeah, eventually God was just showing up in my life, and like, this is what I can do if you actually have faith and work hard towards your dream. So yeah, the awards, that was just a highlight for me.
And how did you come to know of the 1873?
So a friend of mine who actually works at the 1873 network, Kalia.
Okay.
Yes,
Kalia. Oh,
yes, she works
I
here.
remember Kalia, with a show on the 173 FM.
Yes. So she interviewed me once because we also met at the 011 Awards. So she's like, "Yo, come through. I want to interview you. Let's do this." And I was actually excited. So I decided to do a little research on 1873. Look on their sites, look on their Facebook, what's happening, and yeah, that's how I got to know it through Kalia.
Okay. So basically, Kalia is your bridge to
Yes,
187.3 FM.
yes.
And I mean, you mentioned that your highlights was you being a recipient of the Hip Hop Awards,
Yes.
Ekurhuleni,
Yes.
and also being a nominee of the 011
Yes,
Hip Hop
yes.
Awards. That's your greatest highlight of the year 2019.
Yes.
I mean, if you were to look at yourself, I mean, just that aspect alone, your journey in as far as the song that got you nominated. What sort of message were you actually putting across in that song?
So basically, with me, when I write my experiences. This is what I experienced, and that particular song was about, basically, I was involved with someone, and we were in love. Okay, I don't think we were in love, but we were infatuated. I guess we had the idea of being in love, and when we were, it was also like a toxic type of relationship, and it's something that I don't want people to go through, because it's not good for your mind. You don't grow, So we were up and down, and we just that song basically expresses that feeling of, I want you, but I know that you're bad for me, type of thing. So and that in the end did not end up well, So I was just expressing that, and that was my experience of at least the idea of love, So yeah, the song is called Fallen Angel.
Or Fallen Angel.
Yes.
Okay. I will definitely have a feel of that song, so that we can also get to hear the message in itself. And I do hope that those who are tuned in, those who are listening, they're also, inspired just to tell their story as much as you're telling your story, because you're saying that your music is inspired by your personal experiences. And as a radio platform, what we are all about, this is a platform for individuals to just share their personal experiences, share insights, get to exchange ideas. And in doing so, you never know who could be inspired by what you have to share about your own personal experiences, about what those personal experiences could also ignite somebody to be active, rather than just sitting doing nothing about a situation that they can actually be able to transform themselves, to change for themselves, and be the best version of themselves at the end of the day. So if you're looking at, I'm just looking at some of the individuals that are tuned in who are also following the show. Morning to you, Ryan Victor Karikade is an avid follower of the morning show on the 187.3 FM. Good morning to Oliver Chitamba. He's asking, when are you coming back home? Mashaba Jishabane needs you. So I think this question is actually directed to Mr. Mutumwa Mawere. But nonetheless, Oliver, if you also want to just share your experiences, you're asking a very fundamental question as to when are you coming back home. But many a times we think that being in a particular place it brings about the solutions that are required for that particular place. There are so many individuals who are not in a particular place but are actually making a difference wherever they happen to be at the moment. So you don't have to be in a particular place to make a difference or to ensure that there is a change happening there. But as you are there, Oliver, you can also share with our viewers, you can share with our listeners what it is that you are doing in as far as securing the change that you want to see, the future that you want for yourself. And you can also do so by just clicking the link that has been shared on these social media platforms where we are live streaming from. If you are watching from the Mutuma Mawere Facebook page or the 1873 FM Facebook page, or you're watching from LinkedIn or you are watching from Periscope or Twitter, the link is available for you to also join in the conversation and just tell us how you are doing this morning and where you happen to be at, and just to share your story, how 2019 has been for you, and more importantly, when you look at the future that you want, how best do you think that as individuals we can be able to secure the future that you want? How can we use radio to accelerate towards that future? So yes, the 1873 FM, your voice, your power, your voice on issues that matter, your power to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities. Tell a friend to also follow the 1873 FM Facebook page. And yes, we'd love to hear from you, the listener, you, the viewer, what you think in as far as the conversations that we are having, and more importantly, when we talk of the power of storytelling. Good morning to you, Edgar Muradzikwa. Good morning, GOM. Glad to know that you are also following and you are loving the show. And as we continue with conversations that matter on the 1873 FM, particularly the power of storytelling, we are going to go on a short musical break. And as we go on that short musical break, would love to hear from you what you think of the message that is being spilled out in this song in itself. When you look at the power of storytelling. Working on My Dash, sounds of Maxine, a member of the 1873 United Artists.
Time is the currency of life. So use a second as if there's no other. So it's up to me to be wise about my dash. For I'm accountable for my actions. I make the choices and know the outcomes. With time given for free by the Creator, I make the choices and know the outcomes. With time given for free by the Creator. Hey.
I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, I've been working on my days. I've been working on my days, I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, I've been working on my days. I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been working on my days, working on my days. I've been
The hardest radio on this side of the hemisphere.
This morning, we are talking about this matter. When it comes to artists, they end up broke for some reason. We see them on our screens, we see them on our stages, we see them everywhere, living this lavish life, and then suddenly we are told so-and-so is bankrupt, so-and-so doesn't have a place to live. What a one, like what's happening?
There's so many things that get artists into those situations. I think the first one is that South African artists want to mimic the lifestyle of their American counterparts. We want to drive those cars, we want to pop those bottles, we want to wear those labels, we want to be seen with those girls, and we can't afford it because we are not paid as much as those artists. America is huge. It's a country of states. We have one state in South Africa. An American can travel just America and make millions.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 1873FM. Hashtag 1873FM.
From 1873 to present, and introspect to your heritage.
Can we say behind every successful woman is a lazy nigga? I don't know. What do you say?
No, definitely not. I think behind every successful woman is another successful woman.
Oh, I like
So I
that.
definitely think that women look out for each other. There's a misconception that we're always attacking each other or something. But I definitely think that we do tend to look after each other.
Definitely.
One piece of advice I always give to young people is that they need to understand how finances work.
Empowering the mind, enriching the nation. 1873 FM.
Well, it is the 1873 FM, and this is the Santon Express morning show, and a beautiful morning it is, and I do hope that wherever you happen to be, you also enjoying the conversation that is taking place on the 1873 FM, on the 1873 FM Santon Express morning show, the power of storytelling. And in the studio with me, Mpho Mohlala.
Yes.
And Stanley Zengele says, great song, where is the artist from? Yes, so that's a track titled Working on My Dash, and that was Maxine. Maxine happens to be Maxine Sibanda. She's a member of the 1873 United Artists. And yes, you might be wondering what the song is all about. And yes, Mpho, what do you think of the song, and particularly the message that's being spelled out through that song, Working on My Dash?
You can tell that she's a part of the member of the 1873 network. You can actually hear that in the music. You can hear it in the lyrics, the what she expresses and what she talks about. In the first verse, she was talking a little about storytelling and sharing her experiences through her platform. She was the first verse was basically focused on storytelling and sharing experiences, and then on the second verse, she touched on how you use your time. So that was a line, I don't know, use every second like the one.
Time is basically the currency of life.
Yes.
Your second.
Yes, like there's no other.
There's no other second.
Yes. That was kind of interesting that she actually pointed that out, because I feel like most of the time we take things easily, and we don't really prioritize certain things because we just procrastinate and feel like, no, we'll do it later, instead of actually doing it now, because time is of currency, and if you waste it, you can't get it back. So that was very interesting that she pointed that out. So, but the song is really dope. I just don't understand when they say dash. Working on my dash.
Okay. So yes, Stanley says that Maxine is very talented. So basically, when you take working on my dash, dash, what a dash is basically, a dash is a straight line. If you were to look at, you've been to a cemetery, right?
Yeah.
You've seen a tombstone, right?
Yes.
What's inscribed on a tombstone? If you look at a tombstone.
It's what date of birth and then the date when they died.
Yes, and in between.
Oh, there's a dash.
There's a dash.
Yes.
Which is a straight line.
I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
So
now. Ooh, that's smart. That's really
now
smart.
you can sing Amazing Grace. You were once blind, now you can see.
That's very conceptual. That is really, really deep.
So a dash just.
So basically, what they're saying is that you're working. This is like in the middle of like your life. Basically, the dash is basically your life.
Dash is your life.
Yes.
That's what it is.
And
when you take that, when you take the dash,
yes,
and you place it vertically, what does it become?
Like an individual. One.
Yes, individual.
Yes.
It also becomes one.
One. Yes.
And you take the numbers 1873, 1 plus 8.
Is 9.
7 plus 3.
10.
The difference between the two numbers
is 2.
No.
Oh, it's 3. The difference.
The difference between 9 and 10.
1.
Yes. So you see, from 9, that's your DOB. 10, that's your DOD. So the difference is 1, right?
1, yes.
It depicts the power of 1.
Yes.
And the number 1 is indivisible.
Yes, so you can't divide it. Okay.
You can't be divided.
Yes.
You remain you. And the individual is a driver of change. So you basically, each day you are working on your dash as an individual. Yeah.
That is very intelligent.
So wherever you happen to be, I do hope that as individuals out there, you are also working on your dish. So from your, perspective as a musician, now that you've come to understand what working on my dish is, and more importantly, the message that's being spelled out, and when you look at just music in general as a one way of storytelling, you think that if you listen to today's music, the stories that are being told, these are the kind of stories that we need to tell in order for us to build these communities that are inclusive, these communities that are progressive, that are prosperous.
I won't lie. In our society right now, in our generation, there's not a lot of music like this. There's a lot of music that is just focused on lavish living and making money and not actually working on improving yourself. So I don't know. I think with the music in our day and age, yes, they have experiences. Yes, they tell the stories, but are they really giving us solutions on how to deal with those situations once we face them? Because obviously, as an artist, yes, I'm gonna, and I'm also guilty of this. Yes, I'm gonna face a situation, but if an artist is not giving me solutions, at least, like, there's no point of you telling me, okay, then what now? So with those experiences, at least give a solution. Like the song, it gives you a solution. Like, okay, do this, do that. Practicals, practicalize what I should actually do. So yeah, I think with music, this in our day and age, I guess there's more experiences, but give us also solutions.
So, if we just to share your message with our viewers this morning, what would be your message to our viewers, to our listeners this morning?
So my message is to basically also be an individual. You are your own self, and be liberated in your mind, because I feel like with so much going on in our society right now, we are still locked in a mentality, in a certain mentality. We're still programmed in a certain way. So you are your individual self. Find your freedom. Find your liberation, especially in your mind, because your mind, this is the tool. Your mind that's your the key. That's you unlock certain things. So that's why it's very important to educate yourself as well. That's liberating your mind to learn. So that's what I believe in. And you can learn through experiences. You can learn through hearing other people's stories and the experiences. So there's a lot of ways to actually learn and liberate yourself. So that is basically my message. I believe in a liberated mind. That is my why.
Well, it's very interesting that you mentioned that at the end of the day, one ought to actually learn from other individuals' experiences and,
Yes.
these shared stories. And on that note, it's been a wonderful conversation
Yes.
with you this morning.
Yes.
And I do hope that from this conversation, you've also learned something. I believe you've learned
Oh,
something.
a lot.
As far as the dash is concerned.
Yes.
Yes,
Brilliant.
what it is. Yes. And when we say working on my dash, it's been a real pleasure, having this conversation with you.
Yes.
And yes, Stanley says, very true. We need to reprogram our minds with a positivity. Thank you, Stanley, for that comment. And glad to know that you are following this show vividly and also participating, adding your voice at the end of the day.
Yes.
I'd also love to hear from you, Stanley. Just you sharing your personal experiences of 2019, how the year 2019 has been for you. And more importantly, when you look at these conversations that we are having on the 1873 FM, how they have been of impact to you and to those in your community. Well, on that note, as we go on a break, I'm actually going to play a track titled Fallen Angel. That is by Mpho, also known as MP Light.
Yes.
And yes, keep it locked on your channel of choice, the 1873 FM. Your voice, your power, your voice on issues that matter, your power to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities.
I like the danger in your eyes. I know you're broken as I see the darkness that's within. I know we lost ourselves in sin. I like that drunk sex living, yeah, we taking off. I know you hate that feeling when you all alone. I take you up in the city, it's open road. 12 a.m. in the morning, yeah, we on the road. Yeah, you are my angel, my fallen angel. I cannot get enough. Your imperfections are my solutions, preciously made by God. No, no, yeah. Fuck in my living room. I know that you the sneaky type of baby, let's just fuck in my living room. I like it where you shy, but you dirty, puts me in the mood. Take you to different places that I know you like them too. Yeah, let me take you to my tomb. You are my angel, my fallen angel. I cannot get enough. Your imperfections are my solutions, preciously made by God. You are my angel, my fallen angel. I cannot get enough. Yeah. Your imperfections are my solutions, preciously made by God. No.
1873. 1873.
What kind of Africa do you want to